Good afternoon, I'm Yadira Gonzalez, and this is the presentation of my internship report, which is Translation of Legal Documents for the Company Technology Center, CA, in Lecherias and Anzoátegui State. Technology Center was founded on April 8, 2005 in Lecherias and Anzoátegui State. It's a company dedicated to the purchase and sale of high-end, mid-range, and low-end cell phones. It offers unlocked cell phones that can be used in any country. However, it also has a wide variety of electronic items and accessories for sale. The company has its fiscal domicile at Daniel Camejo Octavio Avenue, Plaza Mayor Shopping Center, Building 6B, Level 1, Local B21, Lecherias and Anzoátegui State. The company is divided into three managements: the general management, the administrative management, where there's an accountant, and the business management, where there are 10 sellers, storage, and the cleaning staff. In the general management, there are an attorney and a translator. Legal translation opens up endless opportunities for companies, such as the opening to international markets and an increased probability of opting for contract tenders before foreigners' companies, which is extremely important since it favors the growth of sales of a company. The Company Technology Center doesn't have legal documents translated into the English language, and as it has received a proposal to tender before a North American company, it required that its documents be translated into the language of the foreign company, so this means a weakness for the organization. The translation of its legal documents will provide to the company its way to a broader and more profitable but very competitive and demanding market, as well as allow it to participate in contracts and tenders before any foreign company which speaks the English language. The general objective was to translate the legal documents for the Company Technology Center. The specific objectives were to carry out a survey of information on the activities of the company, to determine the nomenclature used in legal documents of the company, and to execute the translation of the company's legal documents. In the following table, it can be seen the activities carried out and who were responsible to achieve each of them. There were 6 activities. The first was receiving induction from the company, conducting interviews with the employees assigned to the general management, receiving advice on basic legal concepts from the company's attorney, collecting the legal documents to translate, making a glossary with a nomenclature used in legal documents, using as a support legal and English dictionaries, and finally applying translation techniques in legal documents, observing the grammatical rules, and write the final version on the company computer. The following table shows the description of the activities carried out and the goals achieved in executing all of them. In the first week, there were made 2 activities, and they helped to acquire knowledge of both the company as a whole and the general management. In the second week, there were made also 2 activities. The first one helped to adopt the technical language used in the legal documents of Venezuela, such as bylaws and assembly minutes. And the second one helped to classify and organize all these legal documents according to their legal nature. The third, fourth, and fifth weeks were dedicated to the preparation of a glossary with the nomenclature used in the legal documents, and this helped to organize and to classify the vocabulary necessary for the translation of these legal documents. The last 4 weeks were fully dedicated to the applying of translation techniques such as transposition and adaptation in bylaws and assembly minutes to write the final version on the computer of the company, and finally deliver them to the general manager of the company. There were 3 stages in this phase. The first was the pre-translation, then the proper translation, and finally the revision of the translation. Linking between the internship and the occupational profile. Foundation of written English. The structure of present, past, and future simple verb tenses in English allowed the coherence and cohesion of legal concepts in Spanish to remain intact, even though the structure in Spanish may be different from the one in English. English 1, the WH questions and the auxiliary verbs were fundamentals in the interpreting of the translation possible target text. English 2, the understanding of the perfect tenses and the in, on, at preposition allowed to an efficient application of these grammatical rules in the translation. English 3, English 4, and English 5. The modal verbs can, could, may, might, should, clef sentences, the compound and inverted sentences. All of them are commonly used in legal documents because of the historical and formal nature of this kind of documents. Skill of written ability. There's not only complexity in the English grammar, but also in some English expression that don't follow any grammatical rules, but must be learned by heart in order to translate them to Spanish. Translation 1. There was carried out a direct translation, so there was necessary to acquire some legal concepts in Spanish in order to translate them in English. Translation 2. There were used 2 translation techniques, transposition and adaptation. Translation 3. The legal concepts in Spanish are not exactly the same in English. However, there are some like proven concepts that are really equivalent from Spanish to English. For example, attorney, it's an equivalent for abogado. And finally, English in ICT. Tools, application, and computer-assisted translation software were used in order to optimizing and minimizing all kind of mistakes. Okay. Theoretical and practical knowledge acquired during the internship. Theoretical, knowing the structure and operation of the company, knowing the work performed in the general management, adopting the specific legal language both in Spanish and in English. Practical, classifying and organizing legal documents according to their legal nature, conducting interviews with the general management staff, using digital computer-assisted translation softwares like MateCat and MimoQ. The minute of the extraordinary shareholders meeting held on January 15, 2007 was the first legal document that I translated for the company, and it went through all the translation stages. The pre-translation, where I made a draft, the proper translation, and the revision before the final translation was finished. And that was the one that I presented before the general manager. Conclusions. In order to transfer the legal concepts in Spanish to English, it was necessary to the characterization and location of the nature of each of the legal documents. The type of translation was identified as a direct translation, and there were used two translation techniques that were transposition and adaptation. The sentence structure in the source language, in this case Spanish, was adapted in order to maintain the consistencies in the writing in English. Recommendation for the company: to keep a folder with copies of the original legal documents in the administration office in order to avoid the exposition of these legal documents. To contact a sole translator for the legal procedure necessary for the authentication of the translation that were made. And finally, to make use of the legal nomenclature given to the company in future translations. Thank you for your attention.